So good morning, everybody. We're about to get going. Real quick, it's Jeremy, JB, and today we're going to be talking about my 5 favorite stock FL Studio plugins. These plugins are my go-to when it comes to creating any type of like sound effects or atmosphere or anything that I really want to do. Sound design, cool effects, or just trying to enhance the sounds that I already have. And this is also a way to kind of showcase how you don't need a lot of external third-party VSTs, because a lot of people are maybe just starting out, so they don't have a lot of extra money to invest. So I figured I would showcase how you can utilize your DAW, your digital audio workstation. I'm using FL Studio, so I'm going to be showing you 5 plugins that I personally use in FL Studio. Now, I do have to give a disclaimer because while these plugins are stock, because I own the signature bundle of FL Studio, meaning I have access to everything. I've purchased everything, so I am not limited as far as what FL Studio and ImageLine has to offer. I have access to everything. So I do have to give that disclaimer that some of the plugins that I'm talking about today are going to be specific to if you have the signature bundle or maybe even the producer bundle, or if you have opted in to get some of their more premium plugins, I would say. But I'm probably going to make another video showing you guys like the true base stock plugins and how you can be creative with those as well. So anyway, let's get to it. So here I have pulled up just a basic loop, because like I said, I'm just going to be showing you guys how I can use these 5 plugins to basically transform this loop into something completely different. So I already have it loaded up. So this is the loop. I'm just going to play you guys the loop real quick. So that's a quick little snippet of the loop. I guess I could have played it all the way through here. I'll play it all the way through in the playlist. Okay, so that's the loop. Something I just had in my library sitting around. So now the first plugin that I'm going to show you guys is the Multiband Delay, and that's this bad boy right here. So what we're going to do is we're going to come out the playlist, and I'm just going to have this pulled up. So while this is playing, I'm going to be affecting with the multiband delay, trying to fit everything in the screen. So we'll turn this one on. My computer's acting slow. I don't know why. But anyway, okay. So now I've just opened it up. So it's at its default parameters. So I'm gonna hit play, and I'm gonna show you guys how I can transform this into something crazy. So it's at default right now. Oh, I don't have it on. All right. Oh my goodness. All right, screw it. We're gonna do it live. All right. So this is the loop playing through the multiband delay. And this is what's happening right now is just its default settings. So that's what it's already doing to it. So essentially you have 3 different categories that you can affect. You got the delay, which means you can delay the frequency bands. So what you see right here are the frequency bands, right? This is 19K, 12.7K, 8.4K, 5.7K, 3.6K, 2.3K, 1. So on and so forth, all the way down. So basically, you can control each individual frequency band, right? So this is going to apply delay to this frequency band. So if I had everything level, it's going to sound normal, right? So say the 19, I want to apply delay to a certain frequency band. So I want to apply delay to the higher frequency bands. So what I'll do is I'll take the 19K and raise it up. And now let's listen to it. The higher frequency bands are being delayed. They're going through a delay. And then of course, how you affect the delay is down here, the scale. You can even see it kind of move up, down, right here, that blue. Feedback. I can apply like a multiplier, which basically it's diminishing it because you see it's multiplying by 0.1. You know, so basically, if I'm applying the scale at 100%, 100% times 0.1, that brings it down to what, 10%? I think. Check my math. It's been a minute since I've been in school. So, but so yeah. So essentially, applying this diminishes it. It makes it tighter. You know. So this button right here, harmonic scale. This basically kind of keeps everything on the same level harmonically, because if I turn this off, it'll kind of affect the frequency, like harmonic response. So you hear how it's kind of off key a little bit. Turning this on turns that off. Do you hear that little snap? It kind of, you know. So, and then waiting. That really do some crazy stuff. So imagine if you start automating, or if you have a controller where you can, you know, be affecting this live. This is how you can create live, you know, sound design. You know, a lot of people think that, oh, I don't have a voltage controlled modulating synthesizer, like I don't have a Moog, or I don't have any of those crazy expensive synthesizers, which are awesome. I'm not downplaying them, but they are very expensive. So the beautiful thing is, with something like this, you can still be just as creative, just in a more digital realm. You know what I'm saying? But if you get like a controller that has knobs, you can get like a knob controller. Or even if you already have like a MIDI controller, like I have my 88 key keyboard MIDI controller. This is a MIDI piano, but I use it as my main MIDI controller for whenever I want to play, you know, keys, or if I'm programming drums, you know, because I have a full drum kit on this keyboard, so I can play each individual key and play the drums like a live performance. I'm not really playing an actual drum kit, but I can simulate playing a real drum kit because I can play the kick as if I'm hitting the kick with my foot. Instead, I'm hitting it with my hand. It's kind of similar to finger drumming, but instead of being on a drum pad, I'm using my keyboard MIDI controller, right? So you can utilize the same concept to control like knobs and different parameters that will allow you to make changes subtly and make all these different effects. So, right, so that's the delay, weighted. I got the feedback up. You know, how high you got the feedback is, you know, gonna hear that feedback ringing out. Now, as you see, like I said, this is controlling different frequency bands. So you saw how this is controlling, as I bring this one up, it's bringing up all those extra ones that's kind of somewhat connected. Say I want it to be very precise, because you see I got this drawing mode is selected on curve. I can select a line, so meaning I'm just selecting where it goes, or I can select the pencil, which is probably my favorite because the pencil allows you to grab one and freely move. If you select a line, it's basically where you click, because I can't click and hold it and move it up. I have to click it where I want it to be. But if I select the pencil, I can select it and then move it up and down. And it's going to be specifically to that individual frequency band. Unlike the curve allows me to select and move up and down, but it also controls the curvature. So if I say I grab here, you see there's a curve that is grabbing. It's grabbing from here to here. You don't always want that, If you want to be more precise, the pencil tool. And then that allows you to even control individual bands in separate areas, right? So now let's listen. I got a band in the lower frequency, the mid-low, the mid, and then the high. So let's listen now. Right? And then of course there's other parameters. The smoothing allows you to kind of smooth out the edges. Keep pitch. Now there's different banks, right? So say I have 8 different banks that I can apply different, settings to, different parameters. So you see in bank 1, this is what I made. I can go to bank 2, allow this to be this, right? I can go to bank 3 and do this, right? I can go to bank 4, do that. Bank 5, do that and that and that. Bank 6, bank 7, bank 8, right? And now what happens, this morph parameter, this allows me to morph in between all the different banks. So from bank 1 till 8, this allows me to morph through that. So of course, say now I play it. If I were to apply automation to this, or if I had a controller where I could control this manually live, I could do all types of crazy stuff, So that's that. Of course, you have your high pass filter, high pass frequency. This is just what type of saturation you want to apply. You want to apply compression, saturation, or just straight up clipping. And then here's more about the processing: gentle, steep, and linear phase. Linear phase is going to be the most heavy processing because it's basically processing it in real time. And, it's going to have a higher quality, but depending on your processing power of your computer, it can throw things for a loop, or make things lag a little bit. So that's the delay parameter. Next, we have the volume parameter. So same concept, but the only difference is instead of controlling delay, so that's basically from, is it going to be playing delayed out, or is it going to be playing a little bit of ahead? Because the scale allows you to go either positive or negative. So if you go positive, it's going to kind of expand outwards. If you go negative, it's going to expand inward, if that kind of makes sense. So the same concepts, just now with volume. So now, basically, the volume is up. So here, everything is basically playing at its peak level. So same, if I want to say I want the low frequencies to be down. Oh wait, I'm in bank 8. So let's go back to bank 1. Say I want the low frequencies to be down, right? And then kind of ramp up. right? Bank 2, I want the low frequencies to be maybe here, and then the high frequencies go there, and then let's just do something crazy. I don't know. I'm just messing around. I'm not being very intentional other than just trying to show you guys. And then right. So same concept. Now let's play it and morph through it. Right. Very simple concept. So I believe this only applies to the delay if I am correct. Because you see it's only in blue, the delay is in blue, the volume is green, and now the pan is going to be in orange. So this only applies to the delay, you know. So, and of course the pan, same thing. Everything starts center because pan, you start from the center and then you can either go left or right, right? So if you pull it down, that is going to symbolize being left. And it shows you if you know, going down is left, going up is right. Think upright, right? Down left. I don't know, upright, when you say stand upright, right? So that's the trick that I always tell myself in FL Studio, because their automation, if you're ever doing panning, whenever you bring the automation upwards for panning, that means it's going to the right. If whenever you bring it down, it's going to the left. So they're consistent with that concept throughout all of their parameters. You know, whenever it comes to panning, up is right, down is left, right is right, left is left. So yeah, let's just do. Of course, I'm in bank 8 again, bank 1. You know, I don't know, just kind of messing around. And remember, these are all the different frequency bands that are going to be displaced and the spatial imagery, which is your you know, stereo image. So what you perceive as being on the left and on the right, you know. So bank 2, da 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 da. Just kind of messing around, just doing something. Right, and now same difference. Now let's listen. You know, now let's apply a different type of saturation. So yeah, so that's the multiband delay. Something that can help you, in my opinion, this is something that can help you achieve very atmospheric, ambient, you know, type of sounds if you're really going for that. Another thing it can help you achieve is, you know, just making like very robotic sounds. So like say if I had something, because this is just a melodic pad, right? This is like a melodic loop pad, arpeggiated type of deal. But say this was like something, say I had like a synthesizer. Say I had this hard, gritty bass synthesizer, or like think of like, say like dubstep, right? Say I was making like some really gritty, hard bass, right? I could take that sound and using something like that, I can make that sound even more. I could very much emphasize on that dubsteppy, you know what I'm saying, type sound design, where it's like the warbles and kind of machine noises. This is something that can help you achieve that. And if you guys would like more of a tutorial with that, I could probably show you that. Well, not probably, I could show you that. Just let me know in the comments if that's something you would like to see specifically. But anyway, let's keep it moving because I'm trying to get through this quickly because I said I'm gonna do 5. So that's the multiband delay. Next up is the frequency shifter, right? So now the frequency shifter, this is another good tool. This basically, it is exactly what it's saying. It's going to shift the frequency, right? So let's listen to the loop with the frequency shifter going on. And this is at its default setting. Let me set it, make sure it's at default because I probably, all right. Now it's at its default setting. So it's back, everything's back to normal. You can already hear a little bit of difference, but so let's set some parameters. So frequency shifter, let's turn the feedback up. Let's really exaggerate it. Left, right phase, stereo phase. Let's set the left negative and the right positive. So positive 100, negative 100. Let's set it to 20 hertz. My bad, I forgot to turn off this. That's why you can still hear the regular. Okay, now we're listening to just the wet signal running through the frequency shifter. Now, obviously, you probably can already start hearing the types of different sound effects you can create. You could create static, kind of weird signal noises, radio hiss. Frequency shifter. If I change the parameter from frequency shifter HQ or high quality to regular frequency shifter. Now this is ring modulation. Definitely for some sci-fi, you know. Set the tempo. You know, and I could set a side chain if I had a side chain set up. I don't have a side chain set up, but so these parameters right here allows you to affect how the frequency moves. Is it moving off of 20 hertz, or 20k hertz, which is 20,000, 200 hertz, which is a smaller. So basically, this is your range. You have a range of 20,000 hertz, which allows for more flexibility. You have more of a range to really push the limits and go back. 200 hertz, you have a limitation of only going up to 200 hertz as far as the frequency modulation. And then you set it to tempo. So this is basically a ratio of the tempo. So it's really about whatever parameters you want to go by. You set them up yourself. And like I said, the key is really just experimentation. That's really it. But I love this tool. I'd use this tool for a variety of different things. There's so many different ways you could use this for so many different applications. I sometimes put this on my vocals. Say I'm recording a song, or I just finished a song, or I'm mixing a song and I'm trying to get the vocals to stand out in the mix just a little bit. I will apply this frequency shifter because it's going to do something to the frequency that makes it stand above everything else, because the frequency of the vocals are being shifted. They're being manipulated separately from everything else, which makes them stand out above the other frequencies that are consistent and stable. This frequency shifter is slightly varying the frequency, right? So imagine applying it to a vocal where it's like, I'm trying to get it to pop, but I don't want to necessarily apply more compression. I don't want to apply more saturation. I don't want to drive it. I don't want to turn up the volume or bring up the fader. You know, I don't want to EQ everything because it's right. It's just not popping above everything else. But everything else is right. So there are certain tools that you can apply that will allow you to just make something stand above everything else, right? So that's one case. I use that, say for like, say you're a music producer, you're producing a song for an artist. That's something that you could potentially do to help you in your mix. But of course, obviously for sound design or more creative aspects, as far as trying to create sounds and unique things like that, this is definitely has an application for like that sci-fi, atmosphere, ambience. And realistically, most sound design is centered around allowing you to create sound effects, atmosphere, you know, types of different textures, you know. So this is really a more simple tool, not many parameters, very straightforward. The multiband delay has a lot of different parameters, which are kind of straightforward as well, but it's a lot of different banks and different things that you can mess with. This is more straightforward. So yeah, so that's the frequency shifter. All right, and now moving on to the third of FL Studio plugins that I personally love for being creative, sound design, just creating new sounds and whatnot, is the pitch shifter. Now, obviously, this has, you know, immediate, you know, kind of thoughts of what you can do with it. Obviously, for vocals, if you want to, you say you got a vocal, you kind of want to do some crazy things with the vocals. Using this pitch shifter is good. The only downside I would say, if you're trying to like chop and screw your vocals in real time, this is not a good tool to use for that, because this is utilizing it creates a delay, so it's not going to be in time. So what will happen is, if you do use this, you're going to have to print it, bring it back in, and realign everything. So for me, in that case, I don't use it for that. It can be used for that, but it can create more work. And FL Studio has a very good kind of time stretch kind of algorithm within its software, where you can do that in the actual sampler of the vocals. So when you bring the vocals in, there is a time stretcher built into the sampler that allows you to stretch and pitch the vocals in real time without there being a delay. That's also something I can show you guys. If you would like to see that video, just let me know in the comments. But so for this, right, in this application, so this is at default. It's already doing something, which you know, oh, it's because I got it panned, my bad. And because I got the level down. So as you can hear, it's already doing something. Now, first thing we got to point out is that there are two settings. You know, you have the music setting. So that's like if you're working with a loop, you know, or something musical. Or you have the voice setting. That's if you're working with an actual vocal, right? In this instance, because we're working with music, we're going to do the music. And once again, this is pretty straightforward. You know, you got your pitch. Oh, I forgot this destructor is on. My bad. That's why I was like, why is it sounding like that? Okay, so let's start over. So, music. This is off the rip. This is default. So now let's bring the pitch up. Allows you to pitch all the way up one whole octave. That's 12 semitones. 12 semitones equals one whole octave. whether positive or negative, right? And then you have the duration. So let's say I put it here. Right? You can kind of hear that kind of flutter, right? This is actually something that's kind of good to help you simulate tape. If anybody's familiar with kind of the effects that tape can have when applied to, you know, something to be utilized as an effect, because tape can be used in a lot of various ways. People use tape to add saturation. Some people use tape to add flutter and jitter, which is what you were hearing. That kind of it kind of gives off a sound like a helicopter, like the blades spinning really fast. They call that flutter or jitter, right? So like, and we actually have a jitter parameter in here. So you hear how it kind of accentuates that flutter. Then they have a randomizer. Then density, which, and what I apply density to is kind of smoothness. It kind of smoothens it out, you know, because you hear as I turn it up, it smoothed it out. If I turn it all the way back down, it's very granular. It's very granularized. So it means it's kind of choppy. It's like bits, you know. The density smoothens it out, where it's more, you know, smooth, granular, right? And then next we have, they also do apply, you know, you can apply delay. This can be very useful as well, you know, but once again, it's all about how you want to utilize it, you know. So turn the delay up, some feedback. You know, so cool little effects, man. It's all about just how creative you are willing to kind of delve into it. You know, how much do you want to like just dive into it? Do you have a specific thing that you're trying to accomplish, or are you just messing around? Like right now, I'm just messing around. I don't have anything specifically I'm trying to accomplish other than just teaching you guys and showing you these tools that are actually pretty cool, and can allow you to do some crazy things. So the fourth is what I'm going to show you now. This is called a transporter, which essentially is kind of simulating like loop pedals. So if you're familiar with loop pedals for people who are in sound design, they'll play something through a loop pedal and they will loop that loop, and then they are able to now apply different delay and loop tactics and all types of different things that makes it sound differently. Like it takes the original thing that they played and they can just loop it, but not just like looping it back and forth, but they can take that loop and then stretch it, and they can take the same loop and keep the original loop playing while the stretch loop is playing, and then they can also apply granular type of effects similar to what that pitch shifter just showed. So let's get into it with the transporter. So starting from delay. So let's set some parameters. We got loop A, right? So let's kind of just do that. Loop B, let's do that. Set that there. You can already hear it, right? Minimum length. Let's turn that up. AB ratio, let's turn that down. I'm just messing with stuff, you know. Spread is pan. So as you can see, if you're looking at the screen, you can see the things moving up and down. The spread accentuates how fast the pan is moving. Or if everything's staying separate, A, B. If you put it back in the center, everything's center. But if you move it off slightly, things are gonna be phasing back and forth. You set the bouncing rate, sensitivity. This is basically kind of like what type of algorithm, probabilistic or deterministic. So do you want it to be more probable, meaning more chance for it to change and be variable, or do you want it to be determined, meaning it's going to be maybe a little more consistent? The octave, shift, reverse applies a little bit of reverse. In the mode, you can set between auto, which is kind of going to automatically do its own thing based off of parameters. You can set it to bouncing, adaptive, or tempo. Flush basically is you clearing everything out, right? Because you see it's loading. If I hit flush, it starts over. You hit ignore transients. And remember, these are all parameters that you can automate. Create automation clip. That's one thing I mentioned, but I didn't show you. All of these parameters are automatable. That's another thing I love about FL Studio is anything can be automated, even if it's not a stock plugin. It's getting dark because it's probably about to rain in my light. But anyway, so that's the transporter. Very good for, once again, creating atmosphere, ambience, right? Sci-fi type stuff. Think about a documentary where they're talking about being in outer space. The black hole lives for 5,000 years. I don't know. You know? Actually, let's do that. Let's just listen. In a galaxy far, far away, the Milky Way, a black hole exists. Imagine being in a world of emptiness. Right? No, that that was actually pretty good. I should get a job with though. Dang, bro, it's getting dark. All right. Of course, my light want to be funny acting. Anyway, let's finish this up, man. So, I was on the transporter. Now, the last thing I'm going to talk about is, I'm not really feeling that. But I will bring up a filter because a filter is a good, or EQ. So Parametric EQ. Now this is a stock plugin. This is FL Studio stock bass plugin. You know, so if you got the bass, you're going to get this, right? So let's do a band pass. So I right clicked, type, band pass. You see, now you can kind of see what I was talking about, that curvature, right? So now imagine as I move through, and that's a very wide curve. That's a very wide curve. Theirs is like that. I like to make mine like this. Instead of like that, I like it to be more narrow. So how we do that, this top one allows you to move throughout the frequency. This bottom one allows you to narrow the band or narrow the Q, what they call, right? Then also up here, if you look right up here, you can select different varieties of its width. So I always like to select this one because that's just how you get super tight. And there's a concept called ringing out a room. This is more for like live sound. They ring out a room. This is how they ring out a room. They'll create a narrow band pass and they'll sweep the frequency of that room to find what frequencies create this ringing. But a lot of people don't know in sound design, that's actually a nice sound to kind of accentuate tonality, right? And see now, say I wanted to do this. Another way of creating a bandpass that allows you more flexibility. Let's put this back to peaking, right? So now, say I do this. And let's make this low pass or high pass. So yeah, let's make this a high pass. Tighten that up. We're gonna make this one a low pass. Tighten that up. So this is how you can create a bandpass that's a lot more controllable. Because what I like to do is I like to really accentuate the ringing. So this one is that allows me to really pull up to get that ringing effect. And then controlling the low frequencies allows me to sweep and bring those back in if I want, and vice versa with the high frequencies. Now, the only downside is if I want to move all of it down, like right here, then I have to move all three. But the benefit is doing it this way is I can control the ringing versus if I do the bandpass typically. See, if I would say I turn this back to a bandpass instead of peaking, you see I'm limited. It brought it down, and I now can't turn that up. I can't bring it up. I can't boost it. But if I set this to peaking, not only can I boost it, but I can also attenuate it. So I can bring it up or I can bring it down. You know, allowing me the control to do whatever I want. And that's one thing I like. I'd rather have more control than less control. So even though something might be quicker, if it takes away control, me personally, I don't like that. So, but I just showed you both ways that you could do it, so you can decide which one you prefer. But this is how I would use a filter or EQ. You can use an EQ obviously to enhance or diminish certain frequencies, or you can use it to emphasize and be creative. In this particular instance, I'm talking about a way to be creative, to kind of accentuate certain frequencies, create a ringing effect, as it may be called. You know, so. But anyway, I'm gonna wrap this up. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate y'all for tuning in. This video turned out to be longer than I expected. I don't write a script. I don't have a script. I'm just showing you what I know from my own knowledge. I'm speaking to you directly. You know, I came up with this idea. I'm gonna show you 5 FL Studio stock plugins and show you how they work, show you how you can kind of use them for yourself. And we encountered a couple of technical difficulties, lighting, electronic glitches and failures, and just all types of stuff. But we made it through the video. I'm gonna have fun editing this, and I appreciate you guys. Please do me a favor. You know what I'm saying? I would greatly appreciate if you guys go ahead and do your due diligence, like the video, comment on the video, share it with your other producer friends or sound design friends or game developers who want to learn this type of stuff, and or maybe they just are interested. You know, maybe you're somebody who wants to get into production, maybe you want to get into sound design, maybe you're a game developer who wants to better understand how to maybe learn these things. I know game developers hate audio. And yeah, you know, or maybe you're just somebody who just got FL Studio and you're trying to learn more ways that you could be creative with it without spending a lot of money on extra external VSTs. So if you guys have any suggestions, please drop them in the comment. If you have specific videos you would like me to talk about, you know, drop them in the comment. If you want to follow me on Instagram, you can DM me. You know, my handle is at IamJBRussell. You know what I'm saying? I'll put that in the comments as well. TikTok as well. Follow me on Instagram, TikTok. You know, like and subscribe here. And I'm gonna keep these videos coming. I'm gonna keep bringing you guys value and just keep sharing with you guys all the knowledge that I have. And yeah, and I'm just grateful for you guys. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for rocking with me through the technical difficulties. And you know, like I said, we're gonna keep it moving. I'll catch y'all on the next one. Much love and much respect as always. Y'all be easy. Peace.